Shout out to Steve. Thank you for the super chat. Elon Musk fears his life could be in danger for supporting Ukraine. I saw him tweeting something about this. He said something along the lines of, if I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing ya. Actually, Mr. Beast responded and said, can I have Twitter then? Mm-hmm. And in which case he said, yeah, it's all yours. I don't know. Oh, he was kind of posting, and I had to look at the translation of this. He said Rogozhin sent this to Russian media, and there's a conversion there. Yeah, it is. It's underneath in the replies. And I'll read a little bit of it. From the testimony of the captured commander of the 36th Marine Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Colonel Dmitry Kormyankov, it turns out that the internet terminals of Elon Musk's Starlink satellite company were delivered to the militants of the Nazi Azov battalion and the Ukrainian Marines in Mariupol by military helicopters. According to our information, the delivery of Starlink equipment was carried out by the Pentagon. Elon Musk thus is involved in supplying the fascist forces in Ukraine with military communication equipment. And for this, Elon, you will be held accountable like an adult, no matter how much you'll play the fool. It's a threat, essentially, that, hey, you are helping Ukrainian forces, and in this case, they've combined that with Nazi militia terminology, and therefore they're suggesting that Elon himself has become the enemy and will in some way suffer consequences. Now, it's not the first time that Elon's been bantering with militant groups. He had the previous with the, what was that guy's name? He was the commander of the Chechen forces. They were going back and forth on Twitter as well. He called him Ilona instead of Elon, like as a insult. Mm-hmm. And then Elon kind of embraced it and replied, yeah, here you go. This was the original one. It was Ramzan Kadyrov, the head of the Chechen Republic, to be clear, to get it straight. In the post, he dismissed Musk's chances of winning any hypothetical showdown. This was when Musk said he wanted to have a one-on-one boxing match with Putin. Was that what it was? Mm-hmm. Anyway, obviously, in this case, Kadyrov disagreed, and he explained why Musk would be beaten by Putin because he would have to come there in order to be trained on how to punch and fight and to have the right mindset and not be a businessman and such. Anyway, he's tussled before, at least on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he is taking, I suppose, some degree of risk in getting involved at all. He doesn't have to. And he's sending the Starlink equipment, which is obviously pretty amazing stuff. And it's been a critical service, essentially, to Ukrainian forces where typically in these scenarios, communications would be shut down. But these Starlink things, you can set them up in minutes, and all of a sudden you're blasting communications from space. Mm. And there's really no way to shut that down. Obviously you can try to scope out individual satellites, but good luck, because they're going to be hidden and they're going to be all over the place. And he's been sending them over since the conflict started.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's time he's got to beef up security a bit. I said it wasn't just this, it's Twitter, it's the whole thing. If this is the path you continue down, it's almost more head of statey. You're in that realm. I think you need something. I don't know how it would compare with the other.
What does he need then?
Number wise?
Is there
if you compare,
is there a certain man he needs?
No.
Who would fit the bill here?
Well, whatever.
Who would your optimal bodyguard be for Musk?
Okay, I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm deep in thought about, does Elon Musk actually think he would beat Putin in a one-on-one fight? Because isn't Putin like a pretty dangerous guy? Isn't he like Hapkido?
I think he's like 20 years older, give or take.
No, but do you actually think Elon could beat somebody in a fight?
Well, Putin is like maybe 20 years older and around probably a foot shorter.
70.
Okay, fair enough. But Elon Musk is
Elon's
not like.
he's a pretty big dude.
Is he a fighter though? Does he
No,
like
absolutely,
train or
absolutely,
box,
absolutely
or-
not.
Yeah, I don't think he's beating anybody.
Anybody.
Nobody. Sorry, Elon.
You just wanted to weigh in.
He's not getting in a ring with anybody and beating them. He's a smart guy, but he's not a fighter. Look at him.
Well, this was completely hypothetical.
I
It
know.
was just
I
a
get
joke,
it.
but-
I'm just saying he's not fighting anybody.
But
He is really tall.
that's what I was saying. I think any 70-year-old even a former Olympic athlete or something, there's a question of durability there.
Fair enough.
I don't know if you know any 70-year-olds.
No,
but
I agree with you. He's old, so he's going to be, not in great shape or, not in a fighting body.
And the funny thing about that is that even if the thing was to happen, Elon would have already won because there's no way it's going to look good, whatever it is. It's not going to look good for the supreme leader here. Did you ever see the clip of him playing hockey?
Yeah. I did
And
see
everyone's just letting him score, and
Well, there's footage of him doing his
they
other
have to
stuff,
they have to uphold it, right?
Right.
The image.
I mean, the hockey thing, I don't think he's played for that long.
Well,
but
there's
it's like a
there's
part
just
of
some
the-
consequences of being that age. I mean, everyone has to be clear on that, right?
yeah, 100%.
Like you just
You're 70 years old. Yeah.
so.
But yeah, back to the bodyguard. I don't know, like a guy like Mike Tyson. He's good.
Well, yeah. I
Did
don't
you
know if
see
you'd
Mike
have him
Tyson
in
having the tussle
Canada.
on the airplane the other day?
No, I didn't.
A fan kind of got carried away and wouldn't get out of his face. He's probably intoxicated, and he was kind of standing over Mike, and he had enough, and he just attacked him. You can play the clip. Well, just because I can't believe Ryan didn't see this. You're a big Mike Tyson guy.
Well, I don't know if I'm a big Mike Tyson guy.
You're a
but-
huge Mike Tyson guy.
Oh, wow. Someone recorded it too.
Yeah, so he's just nagging him and kind of bugging him and standing over. You know how it is. Somebody
Yeah,
stands over top of you.
he looks drunk or intoxicated.
Right. Now, usually Tyson, at least recently, has been pretty
He's pretty tame.
composed.
Yeah.
as far as this type of thing goes.
But you can only take so much.
Yeah, so the antagonizing, they're all laughing and giggling and so
Oh, yeah.
so they try to kind of
Wow.
shield him, and he's a little bit beat up.
So you wonder sometimes if this is all set up, though. Like
The guy wanted that
Yeah,
reaction.
yeah, of course he did,
I said the
right?
same thing, right? He's
Yeah.
instantly famous and
Mm-hmm.
suing him and whatever else. So no, it's weird for sure. It's not
So-
good.
so-
But the airline should have stepped
Oh,
in
yeah.
way before.
Yeah, I agree.
The airline should have gotten in there and not really made it so that it got to that point. You got Mike
Yeah.
Tyson on the flight, and you got a guy standing over top of him and nagging him. And now, granted, Tyson maybe would need to let the airline know. I don't know if that's his style to do something like that.
No.
You might just be like dozing off, sleeping, and some guy standing above you, tickling the top of your head, and you might just respond.
I don't blame him.
You might just respond. I remember the one time you were comfy on that one plane there on our way to Emirates.
Yeah.
How would you respond? Someone comes up, starts tickling your head from behind.
Oh, yeah. No, I that would be, it's your personal space, right? That's not cool. That's why I said I don't have a problem with Mike Tyson doing what he did. This is what the guy deserves.
You would respond the same way that
Well,
Tyson did.
I'm not as physical as Tyson. I would probably just use some strong words. Like,
I don't know.
sir,
if-
can you please leave me alone and stop tickling my
I'm
head?
pretty sure Mike told him before
Oh,
he
yeah,
went to
true.
that case. I'm just guessing. So
All right, so bodyguard, who else? I mean, I'm kind of joking about Tyson, but not completely.
Oh no, Elon would have to get a whole team. I don't know. He could get directly involved with the hiring, do a whole thing. I mean, anyone, Bezos or they would all be paying.
Skip the
quite a
bodyguard, just
bit
go right to
on-
the Secret Service guys,
Well, yeah, the ex guys from military or whatever.
I mean, at this point, Elon Musk is almost more, I don't know, not valuable, but is like the president, like Biden. You know what I mean? Like, he's high up on the stat, like a worldwide, like world known, like he's flying all over the place.
It would have an impact on the world if something, were
Yeah.
to happen like that.
Yeah.
Things would be
I guess he's
upside down.
not going to Russia anytime soon.
No Teslas in Russia? Yeah, probably not.
No.
I don't think that that really fits his style. You look at the way he lives. We talked about this before.
No,
Like,
I know, but
he's accessible. Part of the reason he's so popular is that he remains accessible, not closed off. Like, prior to the Twitter purchase, Bezos hadn't tweeted in like 1,000 years, and he came out of nowhere, and it's like, whoa, Jeff Bezos. He is the opposite. He seems unreachable to the general public. Elon responds to people on Twitter. I'll see he'll let YouTubers show up at SpaceX and everyday astronaut and actually spend time with them. He's a different guy, man, at that stature. And part of his appeal is the fact that that's who he is. I'm not saying he has zero security, by the way, but
you could make the argument that because a big part of his thing acquiring Twitter was the importance of it. So if it's that important, then his existence is equally as important, And if that takes security or other steps that prior it may not have been his style or may not have been his way of doing things. I mean, like it or not, I think things change for him now since that. But
I'm sure you're not the only one making this pitch to him. I'm sure he's hearing from all types of advisors that he's got to travel with a massive entourage. But there are consequences to that too. That's not a freebie. That kind of isolates you. Can change your perception of the world. If every time you move, you gotta have 17 people ready to go. They have to check the place you're going.
How does that even happen?
You can't go to the food truck. Like, everything has to be that, like a politician.
But what would have he would have some type of, if something were to happen to him, like how the whole, I guess he would probably already have some type of plan in place as who would step in to continue on.
Oh God, I don't think there's really anybody. Like, there's nobody. I know he visits with Oracle guy all the time over in Hawaii.
But that guy's kind of retired. Larry, what is his last name?
Ellison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just gave him $1 billion for the Twitter deal. Gave him.
Yeah, but who knows? Elon might have people inside his company that no one really knows.
I'm with
about.
Lou. I don't think he has like a right-hand guy.
He could have apprentices that unknown.
Can you imagine the pressure of having to take over that Twitter account or those operations or those CEO jobs or whatever?
Just one of them, not like 10.
I mean, it's just an impossibility. It's just, anyway.
Yeah.
It is definitely, it's difficult. They always say with crypto, particularly Bitcoin, that its strength is that there is no figurehead. There is no one person that you can hold responsible for all the happenings or you can damage in some way. That's not the case across all crypto, but they claim that is, a huge component in the decentralization of something, power, let's say. But in most countries and economies, you end up with powerful individuals with tremendous influence. And that's the same here.